Mark and Sue and I have been partners for about 15 years, and when I knew that they were going to open up this clinic, I thought what a great opportunity to be able to not only give back to the community, to patients who we may not normally be able to see in our office on a regular basis, and what a great way to do it through the Fellowship of Christian Giving, and I felt this would be a great way to do that.
You know, it's that golden rule. What would I want to be done for me if I were in this position? I would want somebody like me to volunteer and give time back and give a helping hand. So I do this with an open heart.
As a chaplain here, the folks here get it when you read their mission statement. They understand that there's a lot more to the care that is required of a person than just meeting the physical needs. God created us with a body, with a mind, and a soul, and it is important to fill those emotional and spiritual needs as well.
I always thought part of being a doctor is that you have to give back, and part of being a Christian is that you have to serve God. And I learned when I really started to become serious about my faith is that you really cannot outgive God. The more you give God, the more He gives you back. And in ways that you don't even know.
My son Ron and his wife Tara are missionaries with the Lighthouse Children's Home. They're stationed in Costa Rica. And once a year they come home, and when Tara came home this summer, she was having some stomach issues. We thought it was just indigestion, but it continued to get worse. They were home for about 3 months. And one Sunday after church, she was really having some pain, so Ron brought her to the clinic. And she saw Nathan Lucardi.
When I saw her, she had pretty clear signs of gallbladder disease, and I was concerned that she might need surgery for gallstones. Because it was 10 o'clock at night and on a Sunday night, and a patient that was not otherwise in the system, I knew this was going to be a challenge.
And so the next day he made an appointment for her in his office, and Tara and Ron went to his office in Streetsboro on Monday. And he examined her again and ordered a CAT test. Tara and Ron are missionaries. They have no insurance and they make very little money. And so there was a big concern about the financial part of it, but there was also a concern because they needed to be back in Costa Rica within 2 weeks. Their plane was scheduled and there were commitments, so they had to be back.
I ended up getting her in touch with the Summa surgery clinic through Dr. Culato, who has made himself available here. She ended up getting an ultrasound on the following Tuesday, saw Dr. Culato in his office on Wednesday, and had her surgery by Friday.
The care that she was given with such speed had to have the hand of God working through the doctors in this clinic to get it done and get it taken care of.
That was just an example of the availability that we have here to network with other specialists in the area that have made themselves available.
When he was through, it was like this peace just came over the room, and he looked at us and he said, "I want you to know I'm a believer, and I'm praying for you and Tara." I
think I really saw God's hand in guiding this, in everything from this young woman being able to have access to medical care at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and be able to so smoothly and quickly make that definitive diagnosis and treatment. And
said God gives all of us talents to be used to take care of for our benefit, but also for the benefit of others. And he said, I use the talents God gave me to help people. You're using the talents that God gave you to help people. And he said that's what as Christians we're supposed to do.
One evening I was here very close to closing. It was about 10 minutes to 9 and the phone rang. And a woman said that her boyfriend had cut his head and did we do stitches? I certainly didn't know, so the nurse asked Dr. Mark, "Can you do stitches?" He said, "Sure." So I asked the woman, you know, what happened? She said her boyfriend was doing plumbing. He'd been cutting pipe and he stood up underneath the pipe, sliced his head, and they couldn't get the bleeding to stop. They had no insurance and they weren't sure what to do. And I said, where do you live? And they said, right here in town. I said, well, hurry up, come on down. And they came in and we registered him real quick, and then Dr. Mark got out his sewing kit and had him come right here and sit down and stitched him up, and then we all came and admired the stitches, and they left, and I thought that was really kind of neat.
About 3 or 4 months ago, we had an older couple come in. The husband had Medicare, so we couldn't see him, but his wife had no insurance, and she's diabetic and needed to see the doctor and get more supplies. I asked him what he had for dinner the night before, and he said instant mashed potatoes, and that was it. And that's no good for someone with diabetes. It's no good for anyone. Well, as it happened that night, we were delivered 2 separate dinners. And when this man came in with this need, I went to Dr. Sue and asked if we could give him the dinners. And she said yes, so I wrapped it up and took it to him, told him that it was just either a coincidence or a God incident that this happened on this particular night, and told him to take it and put it in his car and use it until the Social Security check came.
Well, every time you come here, you really get moved, and the Holy Spirit is so alive here. It's really amazing. You'll come from work after working a full day and you're energized being here, even though it's, you know, a long day and a long evening. And we had one gentleman ride a bike here from Mogador, which is a long way to come, you know, and it was winter, it was cold out.
From what I've heard, this is one of the most unique clinics in the country. We're able to provide after-hours care for free, and it's acute care, although there's some definite chronic care that needs to be done here too. I think that volunteering our time is a way that we can give back to the community and be able to show people that, you know, we care about them. And I think it's very important that we continue to support the clinic, as it does such many great things.
You're working with a group of people who are here for one reason, because we're passionate and we care. You know, where else in life do you get an experience like that? And you go home at the end of the night knowing you made a difference.
You may think that you're coming to minister to people, but my experience has been that I have received far more blessing than I have ever given.
You see, I'm an emergency doctor, and I don't get a lot of time with patients. I run from room to room, and emergency departments are very crowded, and I see emergencies, and sometimes I get to talk to people and share, and sometimes I don't. Most of the times it's the latter, and I don't get a lot of chance and a lot of opportunities to share. And here I do.
Christ modeled servant behavior. He washed the stinky feet of his disciples. How can we do anything less to call ourselves Christians and not model that servant behavior? That's why I'm here.